Hi friends, today I am going to explain you about one of the difficulties we face while working on CSS animations, and I am also going to provide a solution for that. Usually when we do animation on font size, it will be smooth, but if you try to do animation on font weight, it will not be smooth. It may give unexpected result. Let me show you. I have created an application to explain this. Actually, I have created this application using Angular, but I am not going to explain about the Angular concepts I have used because it may confuse the people who doesn't know Angular. I am going to focus only on the CSS part. In this application, I have a slider in the top and on moving that, I am changing the font size. Similarly, I have a slider in the bottom and on moving that, I am changing the font weight. And I want to tell you I have used Roboto font. I am purposely pointing this because font is going to play an important role in this concept. Okay, let us get into the concept. First, let me change the font size slider. We can see the size of the text is getting increased smoothly. If I decrease, it is smoothly getting reduced. Now let's try changing the font weight. We can see it is not smooth. Let me increase the animation duration so that you can easily understand. When I increase the font size, it is smooth. But when I increase the font weight, it is not smooth. The reason for this is when I increase the slider, the value is getting increased by 1 unit. For font size, it is getting increased from 10 pixel to 200 pixel. All the values in between 10 and 200 are valid, so it is smooth. But in case of font weight, for Roboto, we can see we have 100 and then we have 300, 400, 500 and then 700 and 900. So when we increase, only when it reaches 300, we can see the first change. And next change will happen only when it reaches 400. Let me show you. Let me comment this transition so that we can easily understand. Now let me inspect and show you the font size. You can keep an eye on here. When I increase, we can see this is getting increased. And so the text size is increasing. Now let me inspect this one. When I increase, we can see this one is also getting increased, but it is useless because this is not a valid value for font weight. So it won't increase the font weight. When I move from 299 to 300, we can see it is changed. Similarly, when I move from 399 to 400, we can see a change. But when we move from 599 to 600, there is no change because 600 is also not a valid value for this font. That is why the animation is not smooth. So how can we fix that? First, we need to understand about variable font and this font variation settings. Let me go back to the Google Fonts page. Here, let me search for Roboto. We can see there are 6 varieties of fonts. But for Roboto, it is mentioned 12 styles, and for Roboto Contents, it is mentioned 6 styles. For others, it is mentioned variable. What does that mean? That means, except Roboto and Roboto Contents, all these fonts are variable fonts. Variable fonts are an evolution of the OpenType font specification that enables many different variations of a typeface to be incorporated into a single file, rather than having a separate font file for every width, weight, or style. If I look into Roboto Condensed, we can see there are only 6 variants and each variant will be in each file. But for Roboto Flux, apart from these variants, we can also include custom font weights like this. When we include all, it is going to support all font weights. And we can also see slant, width, weight, etc. These all are font variation settings. By giving the right value, we can choose the specific font variation. We can use the font variation settings property in CSS to provide value for different variations. One thing to note here is this property works only for variable font. That is why even though this property is present, this is not working for this Roboto font. Now let me change the font to Roboto Flux. So we can see font size is also smooth and font weight is also smooth. Let me add the animation back and show you. Nice. This is how we can use the variable fonts and font variation settings property to overcome the font weight animation problem in CSS. Let me also show this. This is a breathing effect on text. This is achieved using a splitting library which splits the word into individual characters and apply the font weight transition on each character. Here we can see a variable font is used. That is why we are seeing this breathing effect. When I comment this font, we can see we are not getting the desired effect. Hope you understood. If you like this video, please subscribe and support me. I'll be back with another interesting concept. Thank you. Bye.